applications. You may be seeing them on TV with NBC and also Fox and Friends Morning Show. You heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Hannity, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVance. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now that's one thing, but the other thing is that Link has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and that's the whole reason why we do the show. It's just the whole DNA behind the why, really, why I take time to prep and do this stuff and do it every week, because I just see so many horror stories week after week after week after week, and really day after day after day in terms of what happens in real estate. Like I mentioned a minute ago, it's people's largest assets, but they just make these huge mistakes that when you make a mistake with your real estate, your largest assets, it's a huge consequence that most people don't realize. And it comes down to the biggest mistake most people make is they think that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth. They got to realize there's two main factors that make such a big deal in this. Number one, real estate has a very long sales cycle, meaning that people buying real estate takes months and months to look and search and find. Once it goes under contract, it takes a couple more months to go through this process of underwriting and inspections and all this stuff. And right, so it's a very complicated process with lots of nuances that make or break the home sale, put money in your pocket or lose money, right? And on the flip side, most people don't realize is that there's a lot of issues where people just think that all agents are the same. So they pick just any old agent. And what happens is all the variables aren't managed proactively or correctly, and you just leave a lot of money on the table. And so the biggest mistakes I've seen just lately over and over, just pick average agents, people who aren't good, who aren't properly advising them. And the stakes are so high, it doesn't make sense, right? They think that everybody's the same, but you understand the main factor here is it has to do with people, right? And so anything with people is going to make or break the success based on that person or how they operate, right? And so just like any doctor, any lawyer, right? If you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, I don't want the cheapest attorney. I don't want the attorney my friend recommended who only tried 2 cases last year, right? I want the absolute best, most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law, who can come in and give me a massive competitive advantage in the courtroom. And you should demand that same level of excellence for your largest assets, but people don't. They just think, oh, I'll use the same. Who'd you use? Okay, I'll call so-and-so. She's a part-time stay-at-home mom, part-time realtor. Like, that's the last thing you want, right? You want the absolute best, most aggressive person who specializes in that type of real estate to represent you just like you would for any lawyer. Same thing with the doctor, right? If I have a life-threatening illness, I don't just want to go to some cheap doc in the box who may or may not know what type of illness I have just because I got referred to them, or they do part-time stuff, or they used to be a doctor, right? I want the absolute best, most aggressive doctor who specializes in that type of medicine to help save my life. And so these things all deal with people, and it does make or break the home sale on the back end. Same thing at a restaurant. You go to a restaurant, sometimes phenomenal experience. Go to a restaurant, sometimes terrible experience. What's the difference? The people. And so you want to understand, like, this is your largest asset. You cannot gamble. What most people don't realize when you sell a property is 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, it puts money in your pocket. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point. And that could be anything from the pricing strategy. I see all the time people underprice the properties, doesn't sell, or they overprice it. It sits and sits and sits, and all of a sudden now your property has a stigma. It doesn't sell. They think there must be something wrong with it. Now you drop way more than you ever should have because it took too long, and there's different aspects cost you more money. There's all kind of other pieces of that in terms of quality of photos. Most photos are terrible, right? The order of the photos, buyer search by elimination online. Your first showing happens online. Is it handled correctly? Do they understand marketing? Are they students of marketing? Do they spend any money in marketing? It's all these pieces that make or break the home sale on the back end, not to mention negotiation. The average agent in our marketplace sells less than 4 homes per year. That's 1 home per quarter. There's not hardly any money to eat with, right? Much less are we spending marketing for you. But if they're selling 1 home per quarter, they're going to throw you under the bus in 2 seconds just to pay the light bill next month, just to put food on the table for their children to eat. And so you have to understand, like, you want the absolute best, most aggressive who understands what to do and can guide you through this process, because the smallest mistakes have the biggest consequences when you're dealing with your largest assets. And so what I did, I looked and said, there's got to be a better way in the industry. Most agents, they all operate the same way, which is why most consumers think they're all the same. What you see you have most of the time is most agents just kind of do the 3 Ps. They promise you the world to get the listing. Number 2, they put it to MLS, and 3 days pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street getting the next listing, so they're trying to survive in the business. And if you look at 50% of listings selling, right, most sit there for a long time. They're okay getting 1 out of 2 and splitting half that commission, because that's how they're able to survive in most cases. It's very, very inefficient, and it does not work very, very well for the consumer. And so I said, look, there's got to be a better way. How do we flip that upside down? I created this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system that sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. I designed it. We trademarked it. And we license it to other agents in other parts of the country, but it works very, very, very well. That entire process is backed up by two main things: a large team of people, 30 plus people on the team, and a large really collection of technology we've designed and spent lots and lots and lots of money designing to make sure we can manage both those aspects. We manage every single variable proactively through the entire process. So what happens is there's 118 different variables. If I create a small gap at point 1, a small gap at point 2, a small gap at point 3, those small gaps add up over 118 different ones. And what it does is it creates a competitive advantage for our client in the marketplace, which is how we sell properties faster and for more money. And how we have this other piece of it set up is a team of specialists, where everybody on the team is a specialist. They're much better at what they do, and they're much more efficient in what they do versus having a generalist who just does everything. When I was at Coldwell Banker, there was 200 plus agents. We were all generalists. We all just did everything from A to Z, and everyone is pretty inefficient at everything. And so I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And that's what we designed out. That's what got us featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Fox News, all those things. And so if you're dealing with your largest asset, you owe it to yourself to at least investigate, at least learn a little bit more about it, ask about it, and learn to ask the right questions. I talk about this in the show all the time. Most consumers ask the wrong questions when they're dealing with largest assets. They ask the wrong questions to their agents, right? They pick agents the wrong way. They ask, how much do you charge? It's the first question, right? Which is totally irrelevant if you don't understand what the result's going to be. And so you want to make sure, how do I get the best price, the most fair price in terms of what they charge? You want to pay too much, but at the same time, if you pay too little, you're also going to get very little in the back end because there's nothing there to differentiate your property and to make sure that you can get the result that you want on the back end. And the other thing you want to ask is like great questions like, what's your marketing budget? What do you do to market? What makes you different than everyone else? What's your sales strategy? What's your sales experience, right? All these things matter in terms of how you differentiate your property, especially in a marketplace right now where inventory is through the roof. You look at just single family inventory, months of supply, it's steady climbing. It's up 12% just year over year over. I feel like all types together, it's up 37% year over year. Lots more competition. So if you want to know more how that works, reach out, call us. For buyers out there with the same exact type system, it's called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Get you priority access to foreclosure, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection to get you that close table successfully. And so if you want to know more, reach out to me, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime. Thanks a lot.
The best way to save or make the most money when buying or selling your home. Hey, Sean Hannity here, and as an active investor, I can tell you the only thing more expensive than hiring a professional real estate agent is hiring an amateur. Now, there are over 100 details in a single transaction, and dollars are in the details. That's why it's important to hire the most experienced and knowledgeable agent. And here in Myrtle Beach, I absolutely trust Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Whether it's instant cash to buy your home or a six-figure marketing plan to expose your home to the most people and sell it for the most money, or options that most agents can't offer, he has helped thousands of families with unique circumstances sell their homes on time and for the most amount of money. Now, you can find out in less than 60 seconds what your home is worth in this market by a true authority. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD, or online at BlakeSloan.com. That's BlakeSloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbin. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers at time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, even after their home or even ready.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
Use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake's Real Estate Show. Market alert, all kind of stuff going right now. And it's been very, very, very interesting. We just had the brand new market numbers in from last month. And interesting overall, if you look at what's closed last month for single family sales, they're down about 10% last month from the same month last year, which is not terrible. It was down about 14%, but since the first few days of the month came in, some of the data got entered. Finally, they closed the last week of June. They got put into the first week of July. So the reality is, it's still doing pretty good. I'll talk about two types of numbers. We talk about the rear view mirror numbers. That's what closed last month. If it closed last month, the month of June, then ideally it went on a contract 30 to 6 days prior to that. And so if you use all your decision making based on that data, obviously is a little bit dated, right? So you want to look at two types. What's the front windshield numbers? Like, hey, what's happening in front of us? That's what we started tracking during COVID. We track it every day in our office. It's been very, very helpful to advise our clients because we can say, hey, look, let's be a little more aggressive, or hey, let's pull back a little bit based on what's happening. We've been watching this bounce around like real time based on interest rates. So as rates get up to like mid sevens, you watch the weekly count go down. And so right now it's doing pretty good. And I'll tell you some big time numbers we've seen the last 3 weeks, really huge properties moving, and really shocking from, being in the business here so long, growing up in real estate here, seeing what's happening. So in the last 7 days, there's 559 properties that went under contract for $211,456,000, which is great, right? Anytime we're over 200 million means the market's doing great. It's smoking hot. I would like to see a little bit higher for June, July time, but it's still we're doing pretty good with that. There's a lot of high-end homes though. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's like in the last 7 days, one property at $6.5 million went under contract. It's in the Dunes Club on the ocean there. It's 3 properties are at $4 million or more under contract last 7 days. 4 properties of over $2 million under contract, and 13 properties are $1 million just in the last 7 days here on the Grand Strand. We've been moving a lot of that stuff to a lot of high-end properties. We just put one property over $1 million under contract the same exact day with our own buyer. It was in Prince Creek. Very, very nice property there. They called in off the radio, met with them, priced it higher than anything else that sold there. We had a buyer already in waiting. That was one of our buyers. We matched up the same day under contract. Boom. And so that's another one of those properties here that are over $1 million. We put under contract as well. I can mention 81 properties over $500,000 that went under contract last 7 days. And one of the key numbers that we've been watching is inventory. Inventory has been climbing. So right now, active single family resale homes in Horry County, 1,273. Last week's show was 1,256. The week before that, 1,209. Week before that, 1,197. So you can see it jumping up, right? Just in a matter of 3 weeks, went from 1,197 to 1,273, almost 100 home increase. And so we are seeing that creep up a little bit. Something to watch because we all know it's supply and demand. We are seeing properties sit a little bit longer on the market. And so that's just something to keep watching there as well. And so that's something, though. The good news is there's still a lot of stuff happening. I'm telling you, though, I do think we may see a softer shoulder season. So if I'm thinking about selling, I want to do it the seasonality. Some people on my team and I were talking, we may see like I don't say a brutal, but we maybe see a challenging fourth quarter, right? And obviously it depends a lot on elections. People tend to hold in a holding pattern during elections. That's one of the biggest objections we get from home buyers. Like, well, I'll wait till after election, And so even though nothing really changes long-term in the previous ones, people are still using that a lot of times as a hesitation. So if I'm thinking about selling, you want to do it sooner rather than later. Why? Because Myrtle Beach is very seasonal, right? Just had our busiest week of the year on July 4th when most people come in town. So you want to make sure you're teeing up your property at the same time that people are coming in town to buy stuff. Do they come on vacation, buy stuff at the same time? Yes, we see it happen every single day. They spend months and months and months really scoping out properties, stalking properties. They combine their vacation with their home search. In many cases, we'll see them the first 2 or 3 days. In the front end, they start looking. We show them properties, and a lot of times they'll just do the back end vacation as well. And so if you're thinking about selling, do it sooner rather than later. Looking at the rearview mirror numbers, hey, what closed last month? Very, very interesting numbers. So closed sales for single family homes last month down 9.4%. So 896 properties closed in June of this year. In June of 2023, it was 989. So down about 100 properties overall, 9.4% with that. Prices, though, prices declined. Median price down 2.0% at $372,588. Average sale price only up 0.8%. So you're seeing it kind of level off a little bit overall when you're seeing that matchup. We did have a new high last month, the previous month, where it was at 467,000. Now down to 458 overall with that. So that's just something, and that's all construction types there. Includes new construction in terms of what you're looking at. If you look at the overall supply, we talked about supply is up significantly, 34%. Right now, it's 3 months of inventory. It's still a seller's market, but it's creeping up closer to be a buyer's market. Remember, anything 6 months or more becomes a buyer's market. And so we are seeing that inventory slowly climb up overall right now, 34% from last year. If you're looking right now, the showings per listing, the average listing on MLS right now gets 4.1 showings, down 16% from last year, which is interesting, right? Because rates have kind of come down a little bit. But the average amount of showings it takes to get a contract right now is 12.7. And so you're seeing 3 times as many showings needed to get a contract than the average listing gets. That's why the agent you choose matters so much. You want somebody who can get it marketed, who can differentiate it, who can drive traffic to it, because us as real estate agents, I can't sell the house, right? I can't sell like the sizzle to the people. They know in 2 seconds they walk in the house or not. We can help advise you on the front end of like, hey, how do we set this up so that we can have a more of a win-win? How do we make it more desirable to buyers? But then the most important thing that we can do is drive traffic to your property, both online and both in person, right? The more eyeballs you get online, the more traffic we get, the more likely they are to click that button to go show it. And then the more likely they are to buy it is based on how many more people we get into the property, right? It's just all based on statistics, and it works very, very, very well if you understand how to drive property and how to market, how to drive people and be able to market it overall, which is very, very interesting to look at overall. Average days on market right now is about 67 days for resale homes. It was hovering right around 92 a couple months ago, but it is down to 67 days, and that's before it goes under contract. Condo market is still getting hammered pretty strong, pretty hard. Condo market sales down 29.3% last month overall. Median price is pretty much flat at $240,000, up 0.8% from last year. Overall, average sale price up 5.6% from last year, so still resilient in terms of that overall, which is good at $294,000 overall. Inventory is up 103% from last year. It's at 6.3 months of inventory. Lots and lots of condo inventory right now. It is a technical buyer's market for condos, meaning the buyer has the advantage. There's more inventory out there than there are buyers buying it. And so that's just something you want to keep in mind if you're thinking about selling. We're still having a lot of success selling condos. You just got to make sure you're good. You have to differentiate. You have to make sure the pictures are good. You have to make sure that you're able to show it in the right light so that you're able to separate it from the other 5 or 10 or 15 in the building or similar. And so we've seen certain challenges based on if you're having a challenge with the condo property you own, reach out to us. We can advise you, some based on different assessments they had. Some are having challenges based on insurance. Some are having challenges based on the HOAs going up. And so reach out to us and we can kind of help walk you through that overall. But like I mentioned, right now, it is a very, very interest rate driven marketplace. And so rates have climbed back up, not too much, and bouncing around in the low 7s. So last week's show, 7.05. Right now, today, for a 30-year fixed rate, it's 7.08%. Which is still pretty good. We'll take that. I'll take it all day long right now, as close to 7 as possible. 15-year fixed rate right now, 6.45%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 7.25%. A 30-year FHA loan, 6.55%. And a 30-year VA, 6.57%. So still pretty good numbers right there. We're hopefully seeing that maybe drop down a little bit third or fourth quarter, but we are seeing a lot of buyers come from the seasonality aspect. We'll talk about that here in a second after our next break.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. If you're in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Radio Show. Hot buyer alert. My team and I are working a ridiculous amount of home buyers here looking for homes here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area, and from $250,000 to $4.3 million. You're thinking about selling, reach out to us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. One of the things we've been doing on this show for years is putting my money where our mouth is. Most agents promise the world. They talk about all the stuff they're going to do, and they don't start marketing a property until they put the sign in the yard. With our business model, it's very unique, gives us a massive competitive advantage because we can outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint and get buyers from all over the globe. And we do it every single day. And so right now, active home buyers that we have looking for properties, 76,743 active home buyers. Again, 76,743 active home buyers right now looking for property. Got Jacqueline online she's online literally right now looking from Mills River, North Carolina. I got Alexis from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I got Jennifer from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I got Jason from East Elmhurst, New York. I got Michael from Salinas, California. I got Jody from Endicott, New York. I got Terry from Greenville, South Carolina. Clyde from Denver, Colorado. I got Craig from Kennesaw, Georgia. I got Stephen from Miami, Florida. I got David from Southport, North Carolina. So all over, right? Real buyers are looking to buy here. And so you get the question all the time, what makes you different than everyone else? Well, we outspend the average agent 100 from one from a marketing standpoint, and we have what we call buyers in waiting. We have technology that we are able to go in the minute we get your listing. The first thing we do is, obviously, I'm in business to make money, so I want to get both sides of the commission. So we want to push, and we have a sales team of 25 plus buyers experts who are on the phones all day long, every day, making 16,000 phone calls a week. And so their job is to match up buyers and sellers. And we have technology that reverse engineers the most likely buyer for your home based on their previous search patterns. And so it's just like, you ever thought about something like recently, my shoulder was hurting when working out at the gym all the time. I think I said something to somebody, and all of a sudden, guess what happens? All these shoulder ads keep showing up on Facebook, right? It's very similar in terms of what we do in the technology we do and how we're able to reverse engineer the most likely buyer for that property. And we're able to do that with your listing and get it sold fast. If you're thinking about selling, reach out, call us, 843-808-SOLD, your friend, relative, aunt, uncle, anybody you know. Have them reach out to us. Overall, we have a ton of great different options. A couple success stories really quick. Kathy, she had a very high-end home in a high-end neighborhood here in Myrtle Beach. Everyone knows that neighborhood. She wanted to cash off for a quick sale. She was moving to Charleston, had lots of things in her house, didn't want buyers trampling through, going through everything. She wanted a fair offer, wanted to close quick. Thankfully, she saw Barbara Corcoran and us on Shark Tank, reached out, called us, wanted a cash offer. I came in, looked at the house, made her, and my real estate fund, made a fantastic cash offer, close the exact day she wants within 10 days. And now she can move on with confidence, knowing her home Myrtle Beach is sold. She can move to Charleston confidently and put maximum equity in her pocket without having any hassle of having to do anything, without fixing anything, purely sold as is. With the home inspection, a couple of small issues came up. We let that slide. And that's how that entire program works, where they can sell it as is, and it works out great. A win-win for both. Also, from traditional route, which we're very, very good at, two great success stories. David owned a townhouse in Myrtle Beach. Recently decided it was time to move back closer to family because he was getting a little older. He wanted to make sure he got every dollar of his pocket possible, out of his property possible, because that money is what he's going to use to live on going forward. And that was going to be also his living expenses. Yeah. So David didn't want it still in the market for a long time. He originally looked for cash offers from investors. He realized they were actually giving him pennies on the dollar. Thankfully, heard about us and our guaranteed sold system, gave us a call. We came in, shared exactly, we have thousands of buyers looking for properties just like his, and how we can help them get it sold quickly for top dollar. Came in, I designed a custom plan. We actually advised him on price higher than what he thought possible. Launched a plan, global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual walkthrough, drove massive traffic within 2 days, had a fantastic offer, 2 weeks, fantastic offer, almost full asking price. And now I can move, be closer to family. Also just closed with Chuck and Kathy. They owned a house in Conway. They're going through a process, getting divorced. Chuck had some recent health issues. So long story short, they had a few issues that needed work. They didn't want to do anything to have to fix it up. We showed them how we can sell it as is on the open market and get top dollar for it still. Anyways, they trusted us. I came in, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual walkthrough, drove massive traffic, and had a fantastic offer on their property. Just a matter of days. Now they're able to move on. Win-win situation for both of them, and move to that next phase, which is awesome. So if you want to know more about how it works, we have a cash offer option. Like I said, it's super simple. We have a fund with millions of dollars that we're able to come in and buy it for a very fair price. We pay much more than a lot of these investors out there. You want to be very careful about a lot of those investors, where most of them actually are doing what they try to do as a wholesale, where they don't actually buy your property, lock it up under contract, and then try to flip it to a next buyer. When they do that, they also try to kind of do that from a they'll lock you in $30,000, $40,000 below where it's supposed to be. And then obviously they kind of go in and are able to flip that to that next investor. If they can't do that, though, they'll just leave you hanging the day before closing. That's kind of what I was getting at. So lots of great stuff going on. Big shout out to my team and I. They have this thing called the Real Trends Verified. They call it the top 1,000. That comes out every single year. They rank all the realtors nationwide from 1.4 million realtors. And they have different things. They have individuals. They have what they call teams. They have a small team, medium-sized team, large team, and mega team. Mega teams are the biggest ones. That's what we are. It's 25 plus people, and they rank that the entire United States. And they base it based on units sold or volume sold. And so from a units sold standpoint, we came in 59 in North America, which is amazing. Number 1 in Myrtle Beach decisively, and number 2 in South Carolina. There's one team in Charleston that beat us. That's a huge team overall, but it's amazing to look at from a number standpoint based on being little old Myrtle Beach. We're competing against huge metropolitan areas like New York City, LA, right? Las Vegas, Miami. And so these people cover entire areas. One of my buddies who's on the rankings, they cover the entire state of New Jersey, right? So it's like we're doing very, very, very well. So big shout out to our amazing team that works so hard in and out every single day in that scenario. Closed right at 600 homes last year. And big shout out to everyone that listens that are past clients and friend of ours, friends of the show. Very, very thankful. We couldn't do that without you. And please, anybody you come across, friend, relative, aunt, uncle, grandma, if they're thinking about selling real estate, have them give us a call. Say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake. Save me in your phone. It's 843-808-SOLD. And that's something that we're very, very happy to help with as well. How much are you looking at time last 2 minutes? There's an interesting article that came out recently. Just wanted to share. It says, trouble in the Sunshine State. Florida dominates a list of at-risk housing markets. And that's not a big deal until you start looking at it. They analyze 1,000 U.S. housing markets. This company called Parsley Labs. And they're pretty interesting. They did the whole data here, but they analyzed all these areas. And it was interesting. They had places based on price reductions, based on inventory climb, supply and demand year over year overall. And they kind of did all these different areas, right? Some of them, Palm Bay, Florida, Sebastian, Florida, Tampa, Florida, were some of the higher ones, but all the different areas that they had on the list, most of them were in Florida. And what's very, very interesting, the one that wasn't in Florida, right? From Palm Bay, Naples, Tampa, Port St. Lucie, Miami, Sebastian, Ocala, Crestview, Daphne, Alabama, and then Myrtle Beach, South Carolina was on that list. So I was like, man, and it's very interesting to look at. And they're saying if there is a housing correction, Myrtle Beach might be on that list because of the large increase in supply and also the huge amount of price reduction. So we'll keep watching that. It is something to keep in the back of your mind if you're thinking about selling. You may want to sell a little bit earlier rather than later. I don't think we'll see a crash or anything, but we may see value start to decline and days on market get longer. So if you want more, reach out, call us 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We see you back here next week.